Hello everyone and welcome to another one of RC Street Shop's instructional videos. This is going to be kind of like our how-tos, but we're not really going to show you how to do anything. We're just going to kind of guide you along your way, answer a lot of questions we get in the shop. What should I do for my first mods? What breaks? Anyway, today we're going to cover the X-Maxx. Now, it is no secret I am a huge fan of the X-Maxx. It is probably in my top 3 favorite RC cars ever. This is my X-Maxx, and I know a lot of you are saying, holy crap, I hope he doesn't run that snap-on body. I don't. This is just for looks. I have a Proline Raptor body I normally run on my truck. And what we're going to go over today in this video is we're going to talk about the essential. I mean, when I say essential, I don't mean things for fluff and for beauty. These are what we feel are the essential X-Maxx hop-ups. Stuff that you shouldn't be without. And the X-Maxx is a very, very solid truck out of the box. A lot of you guys who've had them know that. And this truck is, this is a 6S truck. We converted to 8S with the Traxxas 8S conversion kit. So it's essentially an 8S truck now. It's all stock as far as the electronics go, and it is been beat on within the first battery we ran it through. I do not treat this truck nice. I beat the snot out of it unrelentlessly every single time I take it out. And what we tell people in the shop and what I've experienced myself personally is that out of the box the truck is so strong, the stuff you would normally do with an RC car, it comes out almost, borderline invincible. So you start doing stupider and stupider and stupider things with it until you break it. So now, every time we take it out, if we don't jump at 45 feet in the air, I'm kind of let down. So I've broken a lot of stuff on this truck, mainly because of how extreme I am on it. I mean, like I said, I can tell you all day long that I beat it up, and you can sit at home and go, oh yeah, I beat my truck up too. But really, I mean, it is my goal every time I take this truck out to break it. So I just, as they say, send it. And I do with this thing, man. I have not met a jump that is too big to go off of. And we'll show you some of the footage as you're watching this of some of the jumps I've done with this thing. And it's pretty, like I said, I got no complaints about this truck. But stock, there are some shortcomings. So first upgrade, and these aren't things that I would do in any particular order. They're all things I really recommend you do to the truck to A, increase durability, and B, increase performance. Mainly durability though, because the truck performs extremely well out of the box. First thing is the servo. Now, this truck has a huge servo, and Traxxas did their best to screw everyone over to keep you from using other servos, big fifth scale servos, because the way it mounts, the servo has 3 screws that go vertically up through the chassis, which is different from the way anything else mounts. And the stock servo is a pile of crap. It's plastic gear. Yeah, it's waterproof, and it has a decent amount of torque, but it has to for something this big. Luckily, Traxxas has a stronger metal gear servo for this truck, and that's what we have in this. We have the 2085X, and what's nice about that is they didn't just address the servo. They addressed the really soft servo saver to protect the pile of crap that's in it from the bottom of the box. And they also give you a metal rod. So in this truck, between the servo horn and the bell crank assembly, out of the box it's plastic. And that thing flexes, and I've broken a couple of them in this truck. And I can tell you it's frustrating when you send this thing off a 40-foot jump, it lands, and it's fine except you snap the plastic steering rod in half, which will, yeah, it makes you, anyway. So they give you a, it looks like a turnbuckle from a Slash or something like that. It's a little turnbuckle. It's metal with plastic rod ends. They give you a stiffer spring, and that makes the steering considerably better, and it's the way to go. Also, I know a lot of you guys don't like the Traxxas hop-ups, or you have a particular servo you like to use. With those, Traxxas sells an adapter kit to put a regular 10-scale size servo in this. I know there's some really strong 10-scale servos, but if I was to go another way outside of the way we went with this, I would probably go with a 5th scale servo and modify it to fit in this, because I don't really trust a small 10-scale servo in a truck like this that weighs 30, 35 pounds. So, and this truck has more mods on it than what we're going to recommend in the video. And if I could do it all over again, I probably wouldn't do them. They're not bad. Nothing I've done to the truck has degraded the performance. But X-Maxx performance parts are expensive. They're really expensive. And as far as value goes, some of them aren't worth it. This truck has a hot racing bell crank assembly on it. It's all aluminum. Has the aluminum upper brace part. And it's also got a hot racing servo horn. And now it's got a hot racing aluminum link. And I can't verify this with any scientific data, but I think that the spring in the hot racing bell crank assembly, it's for sure it's a lot stiffer than the stock Traxxas one, and I think it's a lot stiffer than even the upgraded one they give you with the upgraded servo. And the problem with that is it's hard on the other steering components. I have put 3 different upgraded Traxxas links in this truck, and what will happen is you'll jump it, and you get any higher than 20-30 feet, and when you come down, if you come down on one of the front tires funny and it yanks the steering, what ends up happening is it'll actually rip the plastic apart on the steering link, and that is just frustrating, because the arms don't break, bearings don't break, nothing on the truck breaks except for something as small as this little part that tears it apart, and you got to pull the whole fairing of the truck off to replace it. So I ended up doing a hot racing aluminum link, and that's been fine so far. But in retrospect, I probably should have left the bell crank assembly stock, run the Traxxas stuff with the Traxxas servo, and maybe done the aluminum, the tubes that Traxxas called the aluminum tie rod upgrades. But other than that, the steering setup on the X-Maxx, other than the servo, is very, very stout. And I think it's unnecessary to do aluminum parts there. You're more than welcome to do it. It's your money. It's your truck. But I think it's a waste of time. And I'm just speaking from experience, my own personal experience with the troubles I've had with the steering in this truck as far as durability goes once I upgraded to the hot racing aluminum bell crank assembly. Next in line, one of my favorite upgrades, and I'm super happy I did this on this truck, is the Proline tires. I have the MX43s on here, the Badlands MX43s. These are awesome tires. They're super durable. This being a 6S truck, the stock tires were terrible. I know the 8S trucks are better. We have got another guy here who has an X-Maxx, and it's a factory 8S truck, and his tires are decent, but they still balloon. The truck gets real unstable with the stock tires on it. When you romp on it and get up to speed, the tires, even the 8S tires, grow a little bit. And once the tires grow, the truck kind of gets a little sketchy and wants to wander around a little bit, and that's not good. It's not a comfortable feeling when you're driving something this big, this expensive, and this fast, and it's going 35, 45 miles an hour, and it starts to get sketchy at speed. You don't like that. The Proline tires have zero growth. We put these on when they first came out, so these tires have been on this truck. We've had this truck for about 1.5 years now. So this truck, we bought it when the 6S truck first came out, but about a third shipment. And so I've had this truck personally for over 1.5 years now. So I've got a lot of experience, a lot of seat time with it. And every time I go out to bash on stuff, this thing's always coming with me. So this truck has, more time on it. It's got hours and hours and hours of runtime, and I'm impressed with this. And I guess the point is, these tires have a lot of time on them. They've hardly worn, and what's cool about them is the truck drives way better on the pavement, because these tires have a little bit less grip on the pavement than the stock tires do, so it's less prone to traction rolling. They howl like a real big truck tire, and in the dirt they got lots of grip. And what's nice is they don't grow. So the truck has gone from being a little sketchy at top speed to being basically boring at full speed. You can hold the thing wide open as long as you want, and it just tracks as straight as an arrow. Now, I have no complaints, and I don't see a downside to these tires. To be fair, some of the points people have made to me about these tires is they are heavy. And yes, they are extremely heavy. These tires and wheels are definitely harder on the driveline than the stock ones. And I'm sure they degrade the acceleration a little bit, but these trucks have so much punch
and so much torque on 8S that I haven't noticed a difference in performance with this. And the other guy here who has an 8S truck, which is bone stock, we've not necessarily drag raced, but going up to jumps, we've romped on it at the same time, and my truck is just every bit as fast as his truck is with these heavy tires on it. So I say these tires are definitely a really good upgrade to go with, and it completely transforms the way the truck drives. Also, Proline just came out with the trenchers, so they don't just have the Badlands for it. They've got the trenchers. I'm happy with the Badlands. I actually prefer the trenchers as a tire. I have trenchers on my Slash. I have trenchers on my Stampede. I run trenchers on a few different cars I have, and I like the trencher a lot. But for the price, man, it's going to cost me, $100-some just to change the tires, and the tire and wheel combo setup alone is $200. So, I'm probably not going to change these tires for the trenchers, even though I want to. It just doesn't make sense financially, and that's kind of part of what this is about too, is just value. What mods can we do to this truck to keep the maximum amount of value? Next in line is the RPM rear uprights. Definitely a must-do on this truck. RPM rear uprights. The rear bearings on this truck are woefully inadequate. They're really undersized. So what ends up happening is, and it happened to me several times, and it's happened to almost every customer we've had come in, the rear bearing, the inner one, will just explode. It's a tiny, tiny little bearing, and I don't think I can get more than 2 or 3 battery packs before exploding a rear bearing. And it's, and you don't, unless you check it every run, you're not going to notice it until it blows up. I don't know why Traxxas put such a small bearing in there, especially with the kind of abuse that this truck can take. But if you beat on your truck at all, you will. I guarantee you will go through bearings every 3 or 4 battery packs. So RPM has solved this by doing a rear upright that's got a significantly larger bearing. I have worn through a set of these on this truck. The rear RPM bearings, the outside bearings are the same. The inside ones are much, much bigger. And it took me about 9 months, 8 months to wear through a set of the RPM inner bearings. That is a must-do upgrade, and it will increase the time between repairs on your truck significantly, because those stock bearings are terrible. The inner ones, I haven't had a problem with the outer bearings yet, but those inner bearings, for whatever reason, when that truck hits, it bangs those bearings up real bad. So RPM rear uprights, definitely a must-do. I cannot stress that enough. The first mod I would do to an X-Maxx if I was to buy it again would be RPM rear uprights. Next in line is RPM arms. And I got to put a little asterisk next to this. The RPM arms it is essential to do a pin upgrade with the RPM arms. CEN, a monster truck company, or another RC company, they have a set of pins for one of their old big monster trucks that are captured. And you have to use those with the RPM arms, or it's going to drive you crazy. I regretted putting RPM arms on this truck at first until I got these CEN hinge pins. The part number we'll put on the screen is GS025. And what they are, the problem is RPM, the way they do their stuff, they use super high quality nylon plastic, and it's got a lot of flex built into it. So when you hit something, the arm will give and absorb energy instead of just breaking. Now the problem is the way the X-Maxx is designed, the area around the C-hub that captures the C-hub for the steering, it's not very thick. It's plenty strong on the stock arms, but it's not thick enough on the RPM arms. So what ends up happening is the piece will flex open, and what ends up happening is the pin falls out. So you'll drive the truck, and you'll just be driving it in a straight line, and the pin will fall out. So what happens is you'll jump it. When it lands, the arm will flex and open up, and the pin will pop out. And then while you're driving it, it'll just work its way out, and the suspension will collapse. And you'll be like, what happened? I was driving in a straight line, and now my truck's broken. And I went through this repeatedly with this, and I was on the edge of, in fact, I was going to put stock arms on this truck. And this, in defense of the stock arms, they're extremely durable, and I only broke arms doing stupid stuff. I mean, I cartwheeled this thing at full speed, and I swear it probably went 100 feet cartwheeling down the street, and I broke an arm doing that. I jumped it, got about 20 feet of air, landed it on the front tire, cracked an arm that way. I mean, you got to be super abusive to break the stock arms. So this isn't a must-do, But these CEN hinge pins, every time we sell a set of RPM arms for an X-Maxx, which is often, we sell these pins. So we go through the pins rather rapidly. So anyway, what these pins are is it's a captured pin. It's got a flat open end on one side and threads on the other. And the threads are there for a nylock nut. Now, you need to modify the arms a little bit. It's not much at all to run the CEN hinge pins, because the CEN hinge pins slide all the way through the arm, and then the threaded piece will stick out. Now, these stock arms aren't designed for that. The Traxxas arms are designed to be captured, the pin's designed to be captured by that little 2mm screw on the end. But that's not enough with the RPM setup. So with the CEN setup, what you do is you use a body reamer or an arm reamer, and you open up the end of the arm. That way the pin can slide all the way through. You can put the nylock nut and some Loctite on it, and you're golden. Ever since I did the CEN pin upgrade, what's nice about the CEN upgrade is it comes with 4 pins, and you only need to do the outer pins in the front and rear. So you only need 4 pins to do the whole truck. And GSO25 comes with all 4 pins. So on this truck, I've got RPM arms front and rear, and they are considerably more durable than the stock arms. But you need to use those pins or it's going to drive you crazy. And so anyway, with those captured pins, I've had 0 problems. And I'm very, very happy with my RPM arms, and I do not want to go back to stock arms. I didn't jump this truck high enough to where I broke an upper arm RPM arm. It's the only RPM part I've ever broken, and it wasn't really, it didn't fail, and I wasn't able to drive the truck. I didn't even notice it until I was cleaning the truck up a little bit and going through it, and I noticed that the upper arm, I cracked half of it, and it was just kind of hanging on by half of the arm, but it still worked just fine. RPM stuff, doesn't matter what you have. I strongly recommend you use RPM over any aluminum stuff, because aluminum is heavy and RPM is light and flexible and durable, and you cannot get better than their warranty. But on the X-Maxx, you've got to use those CEN pins on these arms, or else you're going to be unhappy. So we have them in the shop. You can order them from us if we have them in stock. If they're not in stock, you can back order them, or you can get them directly from CEN off of their website. Either way, I highly recommend RPM arms and the GSO25 CEN hinge pins. And that really is the end of the stuff that you really need to do with this truck. In my opinion, you know, this truck has more options on it. I've got the Proline springs, I've got the Proline reservoir shocks, and that's actually about it. It's got some pretty things on it, like the hot racing pen covers that are aluminum, but none of that stuff has really improved the performance significantly for the cost. The Proline springs are nice, and the truck does drive better with the Proline springs, and the reservoir shocks are nice. The truck does perform better with the reservoir shocks, but you're talking about extremely expensive upgrades that we put on this truck more to see how they work, as opposed to just kind of guessing at it. So if I had this truck to do over again, the upgrade I just mentioned to you, that's probably all I would do, because it's all you really need to do, and it's still pretty expensive. I mean, RPM arms are $20-some a corner, so you know. But either way, you know, you'll get your maximum bang for your buck with the mods that we mentioned. And we'll go over one more time: servo upgrade, Proline tires, RPM arms and CEN pins, and then the rear uprights. In closing, I know that a lot of you have had problems with the stock ESC. And I'm not a big fan of Traxxas electronics. We've had to put one ESC in this truck already. And the crazy thing is, it wasn't because it burnt out. It's because the button for the on-off switch failed. And Traxxas was nice enough to replace it for us, even though it was way out of warranty. And I thank them for that. As much as I dislike their electronics, their service is over the top good. And it's one of the reasons I always recommend Traxxas cars, is because their service is top notch. If we have any more ESC problems with this truck, and the stock ESC lasted a year and a month, so you know, we'll probably do a Max 5 hobby wing in this, and we may even do it anyway, just because I know the Max 5 is a really nice ESC, and we've done a few Max 5s in these trucks, and they run really nice and they drive real smooth. So that's probably the next upgrade for this thing, is to do a Max 5. But once again, if you're not having trouble with your stock ESC, then you know, it's not something I would rush out to go and do. Like I said, in my opinion, the performance of the truck out of the box is good enough. It's plenty fast, accelerates well. If you want to go fast, this isn't the truck to do it with. Go out and get yourself a Slash or like a GT car, an 8-scale car if you want to go fast, because they're going to go circles around this thing. And this thing isn't really built for speed. It's built to thrash on. But once again, these are just my opinions. But, yeah, so if you guys, if you want to see a how-to on how to install these things, let us know in the comments. Everything I've mentioned is very straightforward to install. The hardest thing would be the servo, and that's only 8 screws, I think. If you know how to pull the front end off an X-Maxx, you can literally do it in 5 minutes. It's a very easy truck to work on. But, that being said, if you guys want to know how to do any of this stuff, let us know in the comments, and we'll do a how-to video on any of these things here. So in closing, we are RC Street Shop, but you knew that already, didn't you? We are in Long Beach, California. Our address is 5521 East Spring Street. Our zip code is 90808. If you have any questions about this video and you don't want to leave them in the comments, give us a call. Our phone number is 562-425-9000. And we are also, as you know, on the internet. We're on all the social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, obviously YouTube. So like and subscribe. And if you have any suggestions on what you'd like to see that next, please let us know. And we'll talk to you next time. Bye.